Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Can't get rid of us. Quarantine concert series, baby. Concert number 50 something. I think it's 57. In 40 something consecutive days. We've been doing this every single night, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Kabir Segal, coming to you live from my parents' house here in the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia. They are sleeping upstairs, but actually my mom secretly watches. So hi, Mom. And I need you to get off the Wi-Fi so we can stream these concerts in full totality. But no, thanks for watching too. All right, so what are we doing? By now, you know, we're going through a international emergency, suffering through a pandemic. Got so many emails of people who had lost their gigs, friends, artists who had lost their gigs. So we started this concert series in earnest to put the spotlight back on the artists, back on the people who deserve the spotlight, who are used to being in the spotlight, because they're the ones that keep our spirits lifted throughout the year and throughout every season. So I think it's important. There's always been a partnership between artists and patrons, and got to be there for those in the creative community. It's not just artists, obviously. It's everyone connected to artists. There's a lot of people working live events. The managers, the producers, the bookers, the engineers, just all across the board are being affected by this. I think a lot of gigs are canceled into 2021. Carnegie Hall has canceled some dates into 2021. The mayor of Los Angeles came out and said, no large events, no big sporting events until not for the rest of this year. So there's a lot of great places. How can you get involved? You can obviously, if you're listening to music, you can obviously reach out to the artists, become a patron, buy their music, buy their merchandise. There's a great platform called Patreon. You can donate to artists. So just important to be there for those in the creative space. And that's what the show is all about. So now you know. And we're back. And this is we feature a lot of jazz. A lot of people say, what kind of music is on the show? Really, whatever, it's pretty eclectic. So we do a lot of jazz and blues and some singer-songwriter stuff coming up. So we're open to anything. So and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you want to get on the show, you can let me know. All right. So next up, I want to tell you about the Quarantine Film Series. In the mornings, we host conversations with filmmakers. These are filmmakers who have had their films accepted into top film festivals like South by Southwest, the Tribeca Film Festival, because those festivals were canceled as well. And I just finished making my first movie, and I realized how important those festivals are to creating buzz towards getting your movie sold. It's hard to find a sales agent, it's hard to find a distributor. So these are incredible filmmakers like this guy, Frank Licari, who made a film called Behind This Guitar, which is on Jose Feliciano. And so we're just talking to him about his film that's about to come out. Hopefully when he partners with someone, we'll figure out where we can watch it. So we did another great film with the winner, Alice Gu. She was the winner of South by Southwest Jury Award, and she did a film called The Donut King, about a rags to riches story about a Cambodian American who started the Donut King donut shops in California. So these are great stories. We do these conversations, I think, a couple of times a week. So just stay tuned to my social media to get an update on the films that are going to be coming to your big screens or little screens in your living rooms in the years to come. So that's what's the quarantine. No, I do not have a life. I host these concerts at night, and then I host the film things in the morning. So it's enjoyable talking to all these filmmakers. Lastly, where can you find it? Oh, yeah, we started this thing, the word of the day. We're trying to enhance the music literacy. So there's going to be a pop quiz, the word of the day. If you can tell me what the word of the day is at the end of the broadcast, if you watch the entire thing and drop a comment, tell me what the word of the day is, you will get a prize. That's right. So the word of the day, what is it? I think I was trying to go with something more like operatic classical for our guest today. Ottava bassa, an Italian term meaning at the bottom, abbreviated 8VA bassa, or more commonly known 8VB, when the written below a passage is indicated the passage be performed one octave lower than written. Ottava bassa. Now you know. Maybe you can use that in a sentence tomorrow and freak everyone out. All right, so that's going to be the pop quiz. Got it? Good. All right, where can you find us? You can find us on the Facebook. You can find us on the Twitter. You can also find us on the very delicious Instagram cracker, where I am the Tiger King right now. And you can also find us on LinkedIn. That's right, we're on LinkedIn, baby. If you're searching for a job, first of all, I'm sorry there's so many people searching for jobs. 1 out of every 5 Americans have lost their jobs as a result of this pandemic. That's crazy. And then the GDP numbers came out. The first quarter GDP numbers came out, and it's like contracted at negative 4.6%. Second quarter is going to be even worse. So look, if you're on LinkedIn searching for a job, our heart goes out for you. Be with us for the hour that we're with you. We hope to leave you inspired and motivated to go crush your job search. And we're all in this together. Let's keep doing it. All right. So we're also on the YouTube. We're also on the Twitch. If you're the one person watching on Twitch, this show's dedicated to you. Thanks for being so motivated. I appreciate it. You could be gaming on Twitch. You could be, doing like Ultra Mortal Kombat or something. You're watching music. You now know what Oath of Abasa means. See? Boom. No other Twitch channel is going to teach you that. I promise. All right. You want to be a guest on the show? You know what to do. Hit me up, Facebook or Instagram. I have a bit of a waiting list to get on the show, but we're trying to get through it as thoughtfully and carefully as possible. We're just now there's 30, 40,000 views per episode on the viewership side. So just grateful for the audience for wanting to be part of this. That's the public service announcements. Now for the good part of the show, the part we're all here for the main event. We need to get I need to get a drum roll. That's the next thing, Camilo. I need to get a drum roll going. Okay. So we have a wonderful artist, Grammy Award-winning opera singer, a baritone singer. And I know it's a little bit different. We're doing classical. This is our first opera singer we're bringing onto the broadcast. So this is going to be an opera premiere, I think. An opera premiere. How about that? We should get that. We should get the banner up there, like a first-time opera singer on the broadcast. He is performed with virtually everyone, and he's an incredible talent. You can see his profile up there. You're going to be quite enchanted with his voice and his story. Please welcome to the show the great John Brancy. Welcome.
Thank you, Kabir. Thank you for having me here on this show. I'm very, very excited to be here and very thankful for you for having us artists on this show during this time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for being a guest. Where are you broadcasting from today?
I'm in Los Angeles, California. I've set up a makeshift studio here at a friend's house, actually, that I ended up staying at. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I'm here until the foreseeable future. So
that's a nice backdrop. Is it a green screen or what is that? It's just a gray.
No, it's a regular gray wall. So yeah,
it's nice.
So happens to work with the lighting. Yeah.
Gotcha. Tell me, what is quarantine life like for you? What have you had to cancel? What did you have lined up that is no longer happening for you?
Well, one of the ones that I was really upset about, one of the concerts that I was going to do that ended up canceling was actually my debut in Milan. I was going to perform Puccini's Messa di Gloria in Milan with the Berlin Rundfunkchor, which is like this amazing choir from Berlin. And obviously, Milan got hit so hard early on, and they canceled that really, really quickly. But I had concerts in Stuttgart and Halifax, Nova Scotia, back in New York City, a couple, and in my hometown of Mullica Hill, New Jersey. I was going to do a hometown kind of like homecoming concert after the Grammy, and it was just so sad to not be able to go home and see all my friends. But I've had about, I'd say probably 7 months worth of work cancel. And probably 8 or 9 different gigs now.
That's tragic and opera tragic. I don't know what the tragic opera is called.
There's definitely. I don't know if there's ever going to be an opera that can actually have this.
Yeah.
I mean, someday somebody will write about it for sure.
Yeah. By the way, pick up the microphone when you're speaking too. I was also going to. So, has anything been rebooked, or is everything just canceled indefinitely?
Some things have been postponed. Is that a little bit better? Yeah. Okay.
Much better.
Some things have been postponed, which is good to hear that. But I'm worried that moving into next season, which starts on on September, in September, that's the 2021 season. I'm really worried that we may not be able to get people in the halls for the 20 until we find a vaccine. We're not going to be able to having people sit right next to each other like they're normally used to do in symphony halls and opera houses around the world. So that's definitely something that I'm growing a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, I hear you. Is there a you've performed so many different places. Is there a particular venue that we get this question a lot. I just want to ask you before I'm going to scoop the question. Is there a favorite venue that you've played at recently that's really stood out to you that you think is worthy of mention?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my one of my favorite halls to perform in is Carnegie. I've performed in all three of the halls that they have at Carnegie, and but the one that I recently performed in was actually here in LA. Was Disney Hall, and I did this crazy new opera called Atlas by Meredith Monk, and it was an amazing production by this guy named Yuval Sharon, amazing director in opera. Very
What?
yeah.
Yeah, I want to learn more about that. But first, I want to also ask you, before we move on from the quarantine questions, how are you passing the time? Have you structured your day? Do you go for a daily walk? What's a day like in the life of John
Uh,
Brancy
I've been able
quarantine?
to actually, because I have a nice backyard, I do some meditation, I do some yoga. Are we still live? Just checking everything's good. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I get to do some
Yeah,
yoga.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
been
yeah.
walking around much. I've been cooking a lot. I love to cook, so I've got a really nice grill here, luckily, and I've made some pretty good meals on the grill. The other thing that I've been doing actually is I've been giving some voice lessons and working with some nonprofit companies, specifically Sing for Hope, which is a great company based in New York City, and then also Music Unites, which is a company that's based here in Los Angeles. And they're kind of doing similar work, but absolutely different. But just making sure that those people in those kids in schools who are not getting enough arts and education right now specifically are going to get maybe even an influx of that, and the people that are needing more music are going to be able to be get that the music more accessible to them, and it's because of companies like them and you, and quite frankly, that we're able to continue working. So it's actually, it really means a lot.
Yeah, Sing for both great organizations. Camille and Monica are dear friends.
Oh, cool.
Sing for Hope, and actually, I'm supposed to be talking to. I just got an email from Camille. So hey Camille, if you're
Hey,
watching,
Camille.
and also Michelle Edgar, who I've known for years. I think hers is Music Unites. I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I was literally on Zoom calls back to back. Like yesterday was Music Unites, and then 2 days ago was Sing for Hope. They both got different things going, but I believe in both of those companies so wholeheartedly, and they're just
yeah.
such, led by such strong female figures in the arts.
If you know much about if you know, we can do a plug from them. If you know much about their piano project in New York, are you
Hmm.
familiar with it?
Yeah.
Can you tell people what, for those people who don't live in New York, tell people what Sing for Hope does for the New York community?
For sure. So basically, what they've done is they take either old pianos and they refurbish them, or they paint them like crazy colors, and they'll place them in parks and in public spaces throughout the city, and then you can see like any number of people of all walks of life going up to these pianos and just like playing. Sometimes you'll just see like a random person sit down and they're just incredible at the piano. Like I've seen it personally just walking through like the High Line or something like that. I think they had one or near the High Line at one point. But it's just amazing to like bring music to the people in that way. And I think they're doing that similarly right now with finding that channel that we can perform more of this music for people that are needing it. So yeah, shout out to Sing for Hope, Camille Zamora, and Monica Eunice. You guys are doing a good job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell us first, before you play, for the uninitiated ear, the baritone opera world.
Sure.
How did you get into becoming a singer, and what was like the first operatic performance for you?
I started singing. I started singing when I was 8. I was 8 years old, and it's funny because I started teaching a little kid recently, which is the first time I've ever done that. He's 9, and he's like, "Can we work more? Can we work more?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know if I have that much energy for you right now to do that many lessons. But I started singing opera actually after I started singing musical theater. So I performed as the Music Man when I was 15. I was in Guys and Dolls and Pirates of Penzance. And most the one show that I was so happy that I was a part of that I really really look back on is Carousel. So that I'm gonna actually potentially sing a song from that for you guys to hear today. So
Cool. Well, we'd love to hear one. What would you like to begin with?
well, since you were talking about an Italian word that was leading the session, ottava, what was it? Ottava bassa. Ottava bassa. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's
Yeah, so
yeah.
like really, really low. Today, I'd like to start with an Italian song by Tosti. So I have the lyrics here in English. I can read them off because I don't. Normally, I work with a pianist, or an orchestra in front
Yeah.
of me in the pit or behind me on a stage. And a pianist that I work with is Peter Dugan. We have an album that's going to be coming out. It's called The Journey Home. That's our next album together. It's about the end of World War I. We can talk probably a little bit more about that at some point. But this song is Ideale, and it's by Tosti, and it is here is the text. It's very Italian. I followed you like a rainbow of peace along the paths of heaven. I followed you like a friendly torch in the veil of darkness, and I sensed you in the light, in the air, in the perfume of flowers. And the solitary room was full of you and your radiance. Absorbed by you, I dreamed a long time of the sound of your voice. And earth's every anxiety, every torment, I forgot in that dream. Come back, dear ideal, for an instant to smile at me again, and in your face will shine for me a new dawn. So it's kind of, I think appropriate for the people who are kind of waiting for somebody at home. You know what I mean? Waiting to see their loved ones again.
Very appropriate. Very well said. And by the way, as you're watching at home, please tell us where you're watching from. Tell John where you're watching from, because we want him to go global. You heard all the places that he's had to cancel, so let's bring him to all the corners of the world right now with his performance. All right, go ahead, John.
Io ti segui come ride di pace lungo le vie del cielo. Io ti seguì come un'amica face della notte nel velo e ti sentì nella luce, nell'aria, nel profumo dei fiori. Fu piena la stanza solitaria di te, dei tuoi splendori. In te rapito al suon della tua voce lungamente sognai e nella terra ogni affanno, ogni croce in quel giorno scordai. Torna, caro ideal, torna un istante a sorridermi ancora e a me risplenderà nella tua sembiante una novella aurora, una novella aurora. Torna, caro ideal, torna, torna.
I never know when to start clapping, but yeah, awesome,
Thank you.
awesome. We have some applause. We got this. Maxim has the Simpsons emojis up on the screen. We have Texas up in here. We have Milpitas, California, Jeannie Rose.
Thank you.
Gosh, now we have the Somalis with the with the really beautiful, very moving voice. You said that's part of the project. Let's talk about that project that you have going. And of course, now on Instagram, we have a question that people want to know: what are you drinking in the can?
Always water in the can. Yeah,
All right.
This is definitely a necessity for all singers, for opera singers specifically, to have a big glass of water, a big canteen of water wherever you're going, whenever you're singing.
Gotcha. Tell me about the project you're recording right now.
So we've already recorded it, and it's called The Journey Home, and it's a continuation of a project that I actually was working on since 2014 at the outset or the onset of the 100th anniversary of World War One. So I started that in 2014. That's when I had my first official professional recital, and that was at the Kennedy Center. And so that first program we created was called A Silent Night, a World War One memorial and song. And that was really to kind of showcase all of the composers who fought and died in the war. And that album is on Spotify. That's with Peter Dugan as well, my duo partner and pianist, and that I work with. And that has our original arrangement of Danny Boy on it. So that's something that you can also see on YouTube.
What's the name of that album?
It's called A Silent Night, and you can just put A Silent Night John Brancy or A Silent Night World War One Memorial and Song. It's kind of a long thing as a title, but it's very descriptive. It's about an hour and a half of music, and it's in 4 different languages. All mostly by like 90% of the composers were in World War One. Some of them died in World War One while they were writing. So the stories are kind of tragic, but you really feel viscerally history through this music. And then the second program was a response to that program. It's called The Journey Home. And it's kind of a more open-ended program with a more open-ended theme, which is how do we find and understand home after crisis? And a crisis such as, a crisis such as World War One was the first of its kind, really. It was the first time that, the industrialized world utilized machinery in the way of tanks and airplanes and poison gas. So and many people argue that the reason why we had the Spanish flu epidemic was because of World War One and the depletion of goods and resources, and quite frankly, also the just how many people were so sick and how the land was kind of destroyed. And then that the story of this album that we're bringing out is actually this positivity that spring will come again, life will renew. That is what we do. That is how the world functions. It regrows. So through the dark times, through these dark moments, we will always see that rebirth of spring and life.
Very well said, and an important message for the times we're going through. For sure. Everyone, please go to you can type John's name on Spotify too. This album will come up. And let's put that back up on the screen though. I want people to see it one more time. Um, there it is, a Silent Night, a World War One memorial in song. Peter Duke and John Brancy. Great project. Some questions coming in. You were talking about singing in different languages. Do you have a favorite language to sing in, and which one and why?
I really appreciate the Russian language. Actually, there is, for whatever reason, I have some Russian in my blood, but I really enjoy the words and how the language sings. And I've done some roles in Russian, and I've performed in Moscow in Russian. I've actually sung in Russian in Moscow, which was very intense. But I mean, there's a video online of me doing it. It's you can look up Yeletsky's aria. So that's Yeletsky, Yeletsky aria, and then my name, and you'll see me performing in Moscow.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Hey, grab your microphone, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I
Um,
keep forgetting that.
yeah, I want to know, how do you read Russian? Because it's in Cyrillic. So how do you actually learn? Do you read it phonetically, or how do you learn how to sing it? Or
Yeah,
how to?
so we were taught at Juilliard. I took actually 2 years of Russian language, so I learned how to translate the Cyrillic, and ultimately, yeah, phonetically, it makes it a lot easier to understand the words, and how the sounds of the words function. But then I've also, when I've had an entire role like Eugene Onegin, which is an entire role by Tchaikovsky that I've learned, I'd had to learn it with a Russian speaker so that I was, absolutely clear on what I was saying and how I was saying it.
Okay. Samantha has a question. She says, John, how do you get over stage fright as a performer?
That's a very good question. That's different for a lot of people. For me, I've got a specific warm up routine that I've been doing, and it involves like basically 3 or 4 steps, and those are always things that I can employ. So the first one is called wide angle focus, and when I do that, I just sit down in a comfortable position and I open up my gaze. So I'm just staring forward, letting all of whatever's happening come in without analyzing it. I then take my internal eye and I scan my body, kind of like what you do if you're in yoga or something like that. And I see where the tension is, or the fear, or the nerves. And then what I do is I actually slow down my breathing. So I've got a bunch of different techniques of breathing that I've learned over the years through yoga and through other teachers to find those points of nervous energy, and just breathe into them and slow down my breath. And then I do several other breathing exercises to get myself chilled out. But a lot of it has to do with changing my focus to a more theta based brainwave, so like flow state, and then slowing down my breath. Hope that answers the question.
Got it. Yeah, yeah, probably it does. Also, in terms of taking care of your voice, you talked about it a little bit about drinking water. Anything else? Any tips to vocalists who are trying to take care of their vocal cords?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is sleep. Honestly, just getting that 8 or 9 hours of solid sleep. Uh, it's so hard for so many people to, score those hours, even in quarantine. For me, like, I have nowhere to be most days. I mean, I do actually. I shouldn't be late to meetings that are online, but I'm just, it's so important to try and get those 8 or 9 hours of solid, uninterrupted sleep. And beyond that, I think like I take a lot of different supplements, specifically like B vitamins and vitamin D, and a lot of supplements. I do a lot of different supplements, honestly, and a lot of fresh juice. I like to juice a lot.
Yeah, and so much of opera is also the visual component.
Yeah.
Going to it and, and being a character, and how seriously do you take the physical part of it, and the look and the working out. What is that like for you?
I mean, I'm always trying to stay in shape. It's been a little bit hard with the quarantine because I haven't Been able to go to a gym. I like to go to the gym. That's my main thing when I'm getting physical. I do have a yoga mat here. I do have a jump rope. I bought a jump rope, so I'm able to like go out, do some yoga, move the body, breathe, do some jumping rope. And yeah, but being physical on stage, I mean, I'm constantly when I'm on stage being asked to jump around the stage and dance and move. And yeah, that show Atlas that I did, every single beat was choreographed. So I mean, I it's a major part of the physicality of what I do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, totally. What would you like to sing for us next?
I'd like to sing a fan or just a favorite song of mine, and I think it's something that a lot of people know and love. And it's what a wonderful world, because we're living in this beautiful world, and we got to keep that positivity as we move through this quarantine. Okay,
Great.
cool. I've seen trees of green, red roses too. I seen 'em bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I've seen skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people going by. I've seen friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Yeah. I know when that one's over. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who doesn't love that song? John Brancy, everyone. I want everyone to go to johnbrancy.com, check out his website. You have so many great pictures and stuff on your website too. We put some up. I know they didn't really go with the song, but we're trying to get more of your good work up there. Allison says perfect song choice. Marilyn was saying before that her daughter used to sing opera and loves the Russian language as well.
Very cool.
Hector Del Curto, who's a wonderful bandoneon player, Grammy Award-winning bandoneon player, give me some love.
Thanks.
So,
man.
Yeah, everyone put your love up on the screen for John. We'll get it up on the screen. I want to. It was very exciting. You won a Grammy last year. Tell us about the project.
No, this year, 2020.
Last cycle. Tell us about the project and your role on it.
So it's called Fantastic Mr. Fox, and it's based on the Roald Dahl novel. It's not the movie; it's the opera. So it's its own thing. It's its own creative version of the story. And I played Mr. Fox. Yeah, there we go. The Foxhole. That would be the first track that I'm in. And you'll hear my aria, "Ah, the smell of the night." And it's a great piece by Tobias Picker, who's an amazing American opera composer. And actually was on this project. They first brought me on back in 2014. So we recorded it, I think, in like 2015 or 16, and then it took a while for us to finish the project. But I was a little bit younger then. But I really loved being a part of this project and getting to sing the role of Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's kind of a dream role, and I can kind of I feel like I'm a bit like Mr. Fox sometimes.
Yeah. Uh, uh, Tell me about involved in the cast, and also where did you stage the opera? Was there a staging of this somewhere?
Yeah, we staged it at Opera San Antonio. So they're based in San Antonio. And we also did it in Boston with Boston Modern Opera Project or Boston Modern Orchestra Project. And that was the company that we worked with, which made it such a great success. They Gil Rose, the conductor, had us all extremely prepared, ready to go. But we've got some great people that that are in the cast that I'm very, very thankful to have had the opportunity to perform with. It's a really, really great cast. I'm close friends with Theo LeBeau. He's a good friend of mine who's working in Oper Frankfurt. We've done some stuff before together after this show. So yeah, shout out
There's
to
there's
Theo.
there's the cover, and that's a picture of John on the cover. He
Yep,
was he
that's
was the
me.
title role of Mr. Fox. Talk to me about a little bit about opera, contemporary opera. Do you have, um, and I'm sure like you coming up, you got to perform the canon, and there's the operas we all know about and grow up learning about. What about contemporary operas? Like, how do you pick what you're going to sing? Because there's a lot of people out there, the Beth Morrison world. There's a lot of edgier operas. What do you look for when wanting to sing a contemporary opera?
First of all, Kabir, you are a wealth of knowledge. I mean, knowing all of these different things about opera, it's incredibly inspiring to hear all of this and all these questions. They're great. Beth Morrison Projects is not a company that I've been able to work with, but I've seen some of their productions and they are fantastic and cutting edge for sure. This one project that I was able to work with Yuval Sharon, which was The Industry, which is kind of like LA's version of Beth Morrison Projects. They I worked with Yuval also in Oper Frankfurt, and we performed. We staged this piece by Olga Neuvert called Lost Highway. And so I think the thing with new opera is that it's kind of a new genre of performance altogether. It's taking the concept of opera and then kind of like weaving in all these new and exciting virtual technologies. So both of those projects, Atlas and Lost Highway, were two projects that I was able to be, immersed in a virtual environment. And I think that a lot of that is going to be what we're going to be experiencing now, moving into this sort of like virtual quarantine as we, get further and further into and invested into this way of performing. So in terms of the music, I think it really can like vary just so diversely right now in opera, which is I think the thing that kind of defines the moment really, because there we go through all these eras, and then they call it kind of like the postmodern era, but it's beyond that now. I think we're like into another version of an entirely new wave of music, which is like basically embracing all forms of music and bringing them into classical music and opera and exploring them as deeply as possible.
Talk. That's really cool because I don't think a lot of people connect like VR with opera. We know about the Invisible Cities opera that was performed, I think, in LA, right?
That's Yuval. That's the
Oh, I
industry.
see. Got it. For those who don't know, can you tell? Do you know about how it was performed? It was performed at the train station, and I think it was performed with like, yeah. Tell people.
I think people had VR
I don't
goggles
really
on.
know
Yeah,
the whole story.
I think I didn't get to see it myself, but I think people had VR goggles on, and there was an orchestra that was playing in another room, and whatever you were seeing was actually like the environment itself that was then altered. That's kind of what I understood what it was. But the Lost Highway project that I was
where
in,
can people?
Yep. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where can people experience this immersive opera? Like you can't just. It's either you go to like the opera and buy the expensive ticket and go sit with everyone, which is probably not happening for a while. But if you wanted to go experience an opera like this, how do I go experience it? Where do I go?
Honestly, I personally am interested personally in developing that more, and I went ahead and I purchased an Oculus Quest and a 360-degree GoPro Max 8 Fusion camera, and I'm gonna start doing my best to create that VR content in the coming weeks and months as I continue through this. So personally, I think that it's up to the artists now if we want to kind of like pave the way into this new field of performing to actually kind of like learn a little bit about the technology and how it functions. I kind of spent a lot of time through my 20s and even my teens learning about camera technology and learning about microphone technology and whatnot. But this is an entirely different ball game in space. I mean, literally, you get immersed into a concert hall essentially. So it's kind of I'm kind of coining the term with you here, Kabir. I call it augmented opera. That's the name that I've been giving it and talking about it with people.
Awesome. We should put a banner up, augmented opera with a trademark next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Copyright John Brancy. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. What would you like to play as I think is your final piece?
This is from Carousel, so by Richard Rogers and Oscar Hammerstein. This is when You'll Never Walk Alone.
Great.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Awesome. That was so beautiful and powerful. You have powerful vocals.
Thank you.
Let me get these going here.
Good night.
Where did you get your longest applause ever? Do you know?
My-
What went on and on?
My longest applause.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is there a show that has kept on going?
After I do those World War One recitals, man, people are just like standing and going
Yeah, we
because
want you to
it's like
feel.
an hour and a half of just me with a piano, and I'm just
We want you to feel comfortable. I sometimes I'm concerned about the artists that if they don't get applause on a regular basis, that's where we try to give them
it kind
a
of
little
gets to
dose
you.
of it.
It kind of gets to you. Honestly, it does.
Yeah, I
It
know, I
does.
know. Um, let's put some of these pictures up on the screen. I want people to know what operas these are from. So the
Sure.
one we have there, Sandra. Yeah, what's this from?
This is from La Cenerentola by Rossini. I'm playing the role of Dandini, and he's pretending to be the prince. Uh, that's my mustache. He does get caught. I'm sitting next to one of the so in Cinderella, there's the two evil sisters, and this is one of them next to me, and she's going full on into her spaghetti dish, and I'm just I can't believe what I'm seeing. But that's my actual mustache. That's not my hair, obviously.
Got it, got it. All right, let's put the next picture up. And while we're finding the next picture, when you're like in the oh, what's going on here?
Well, that's me with that crazy position. This was an opera where I had to dance the entire opera because it was directed by a choreographer. So he was making me do a ton of dance stuff. I'm playing the role of the Harlequin, which is a clown role from the Commedia dell'arte in an opera called Ariadne auf Naxos, and that's Ariadne, and it's literally mashing two shows together. It's kind of an ingenious opera by Richard Strauss.
Got it.
That was
All
at
right,
Opera Theater St. Louis, by the way.
got it.
This one is Demetrius in Midsummer Night's Dream at a company that I work with up in Victoria, BC called Pacific Opera Victoria. They do great work. Yeah,
Um,
Shakespeare.
where's this?
Where is this? Oh, this is in Moscow. This is the performance of Yeletsky's aria at a competition that I performed in.
You know, in an opera when the people are backstage or not in the foreground, they're talking to each other, and it looks like they're talking to each other, but they're not. What are you guys talking about? Like, is the filler conversation?
Yeah, what are we making as our filler? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
sometimes it's like context of the show, like to try and be acting, and be in the piece. And sometimes if you're not really with another colleague who really wants to act, it can kind of get a little dicey, and they're just like, "What are you doing? Don't act with me. I just want to sing." So I'm an actor about my performances. That's how I kind of approach all of my performances, is from a dramatic acting standpoint.
interesting.
So I am creating characters and developing dialogues and all of these different, worlds. This is actually another production of the same thing, Ariadne and Harlequin. I'm just a different version. I'm actually a Pierrot. This is a Pierrot clown as Harlequin. And right after this scene, somehow Ariadne has like telekinesis, and she like sends me into this mud pit, and I'm literally covered in like stage mud.
Hmm.
So it was pretty cool.
Is that the final shot, or do you have to clean up
No,
after that?
I clean
Okay,
up. This
got
is
it.
from an incredible new opera. It's not super new, but the composer is living and well, and I met him actually recently. We did this opera. I did this production was with Opera Omaha with director James Dara. So Darrah. James Dara and I are good friends, and I'm a big, big, big fan of his productions and what he's doing for opera right now, similar to Yuval. But this is called Flight, and I was singing the role of steward, and that's steward and stewardess, and the refugee is actually in the back, who's the main character of the opera. It's a very, very powerful opera.
Yeah, they say like opera is like the mother of all arts, and that they're singing, dancing, and um, acting, right? So it's sort of you have to be a triple threat in a way that not always the case in every art form. So thanks for
Yeah,
keeping the tradition
yeah,
alive.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I love it, and I think it just like like a lot of different, ways of entertaining people, we're telling stories. That at the end of the day, that's really what we're here to do, is tell the story of our human experience. And I would wouldn't trade it for anything really.
Great. Well, thanks for being a guest on the show. Wonderful to have you. Incredible talent. I really hope to hear you live one day soon when this is behind us. And I hope you come to New York. I'm sure you're in New York often. I hope you come to New York and perform, so I can come check you out live.
That'd be great. Thank you so much for having me, Kabir. This has been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure. So everyone check out johnbrancy.com. Great artist. He's also giving voice lessons. I don't promise that you'll be able to sing with him, but he'll give you some tips on how to go down that road. And we have a great show tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern. But before I tell you about that, I want to give a shout out to Sandra and Camilo, the wonderful tech team. Let's put their link up on the screen. Soundworksrecording.com. They're open for business. So if you're an artist that needs mixing and mastering services, any audio services, please reach out to them. Mention one of very nice. They are very canine friendly. Very canine friendly. All right. So that's that. Some great music lined up tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern. We have the great Joni Leeds, children's artist. And if you can tell me what the word of the day is in the comment field, I'll come give you a prize. What was the word of the day? Does anyone remember? Was anyone watching at the early onset of the show? Please let me know in the comment field. All right, that's it for tonight. Everyone, good night. God bless and stay home.